In this episode of the Clarity Digital Pod, I sat down with Carol-Lyn Jardine to talk about leading marketing teams through massive change. We explored how AI is reshaping the buyer journey, what economic uncertainty means for go to market strategies, and how marketing leaders can balance technology, strategy, and team culture in this new era.
All right, let's go. Hi, welcome, Caroline.
Thank
Today,
you. So nice to be here.
yeah, very nice to meet you again. Good to see you again. We met at the CMO Coffee Talk, right?
Yes. Yeah, they
Yeah,
had invited me to present there about the AI transformation and the marketing team that I was leading.
yeah, and I really like that presentation. So I like to talk about that today, if you don't mind. But there's a lot happening in the world of marketing leadership. I've seen things are changing a lot in the world of marketing because of the state of economy, but because of AI. I wanted to get your feedback on that.
Sure. Things are, I don't know if there's a better word than crazy for it right now. There's so many things coming at companies, at business leaders, at teams all at once. I don't know that at least I haven't in my career experienced a time of this much disruption at the same time as there's this much change, at the same time as there's this much pressure. We're being disrupted by buyer journeys changing. Things are more and more digital every single day. Also, AI is the big elephant in the room. That's
Mhm.
disrupting. Then, in addition, there's a ton of change and pressure coming from the way that businesses are trying to react to the economy, to every day it's a different tariff announcement. And
Yeah.
also just the aftermath of the pandemic. We're experiencing a lot of pressure on return to offices or hybrid, or there's just so much going on. And trying to figure out how to deal with all of that at the same time is the really big job of leaders that that we have right now, or whether that be in a marketing team or it be at the company level.
Yeah, I agree with you. We can sense that those changes from the vendor agency part as well. It's summertime, a lot of people on vacation. Our proposals went out 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago. Oh, we get a lot of out of office autoresponders. You pointed out two really important things, actually three. Number one was the state of economy. I've noticed even companies that are doing well are holding back because there's a lot of uncertainties. They don't know what's going to happen. So they like usually marketing is the first one that takes a hit. They're like, oh, we need less marketing. We need more retention. And I've heard that firsthand. We had a client that went on pause. Literally, that's what they said. So you know what? We're going to dial back on marketing. We're going to focus on our product and retention of our clients. So I'm like, okay, if you're ready, if you want to come back, welcome. But the AI transformation is changing the digital buyer journey, as you pointed out. If you don't mind elaborating on that a little bit more and how the buyer journey is changing because of digital and because of AI.
Yeah, I think we were seeing a ton of change in the buyer journey over the last, let's call it 15 years, just as we all got more and more comfortable with buying things in a digital manner and engaging with companies in a digital manner. And that was already happening pre-pandemic, but COVID just accelerated everything. I remember pre-COVID, I was working in larger SaaS companies with complex enterprise buying cycles. And somebody would get introduced to us on our website, but they would likely interact with us at 2 or 3 field events. They would come to webinars, take several steps before they would move forward with a purchase. COVID happened, and then suddenly everything was digital, right? There was
Yeah.
nothing that was happening that was in person. We weren't going out to do customer visits. We weren't doing live events and those things. Everything just went digital so fast and overnight. And it's interesting because when we talk about the next subject, which is AI transformation and how that's impacting it, I remember us talking about digital transformation, and I was in a business that was very focused on digital transformation at the time. And it had been going on for years, and people were doing these big, complex digital transformation projects. And then COVID hit, and suddenly everybody's digital transformation projects were happening in like weeks.
Yeah.
Necessity was the mother of invention in that case, and that it just accelerated everything, which had a huge impact on the buyer journey. So post-COVID, I think we're seeing, this is very commonly talked about in marketing circles, where we're seeing buyers who don't even engage with the company that they are investigating very late in the buying process. They're lurking around anonymously. They're going to their social channels and to their networks and communities to learn where they want to make buying decisions first, and then very late in the buying process are becoming known to that company, and that's when we get engaged or get a chance to make our pitch to them. That's just very different than it was 10 years ago. Now you add AI on top of that. In some ways, we can talk more about some specific examples, but in some way, AI is making things much better. In other ways, it's making things much worse. I don't know about you, but the sheer quantity of emails that I'm getting that I can tell are AI generated from a bunch of well-meaning organizations that are trying to turn their SDR activities into a AI first motion. It's overwhelming. So in that case, it's not necessarily helping, it's creating more noise. But that's the world that we're in. AI is definitely transforming the way that we work. It's transforming the way that we plan and think. And for organizations that do a good job of thinking through the strategy around it, I think it's going to be a game changer. But for organizations who are not being strategic about their use or implementation of AI, I think it's not going to help. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, when I was interviewing an AI expert slash consultant, one advice he gave me is that organizations that do have an AI policy, AI protocol, tend to do better. It's less noisy. And the ones that are just too agile with AI adoption, they tend to make a lot of mistakes. And I don't know if you have any input on that. I think you were talking about AI policy on your last presentation.
Yeah, I may not agree 100% with that perspective, but I
Okay.
agree with some parts of it. So because I've been doing a lot of AI transformation and people have been really curious about the way that we did that at the company that I was leading marketing called Dice, we were in a state where things were very scrappy when we were looking at bringing on AI tools to start. And it was really out of necessity that I started thinking, okay, how can AI help us solve for these things that I either don't have enough budget to solve for, don't have capacities to solve for, or we have to just do it differently and we've got to get creative about the way we're thinking about it. And frankly, where the culture of our company had some really good AI policy around the way that we were using AI in the product, but the policy hadn't been really considered past that. So engineering really knew how they were leveraging some of the coding tools. They understood how they were thinking about it for risk and compliance, which we had a marketplace product. So there was a lot of fraud that was happening, and AI was actually contributing a lot to the increase in fraud. So a ton of good thinking about how AI was going to be leveraged or thought about on the product side, but we didn't have a lot of guidance on how the marketing team could or couldn't use it. And some of the guidance that we were getting was very limiting because of the concern about security, risk, and compliance. And I had a lot of conversations where I championed and said, it's important for us to be very clear and thoughtful about how we're using AI with the product. That is our IP. It's the value that we're bringing out to the market. It's how we're making our revenue. When it comes to marketing, just like forever, there is a lot less risk, right? Most of the things that I was doing with AI or wanted to do in campaigns in general, they're not IP, they're not going to bring a lot of risk to the company. So I really advocated for let's just take the handcuffs off and do a lot of experimentation and figure it out, because the thing that I think is so critical to know about where we are with AI today, and this could change 6 months from now, but today, nobody really knows the best way to implement AI in any given team.
Sure.
Because it's too new and it's changing so fast.
Yeah.
The models today, with the latest releases from the large language models like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Claude, and Anthropic, or Gemini and Google, they are vastly different one release to the next. Their capabilities are vastly different one release to the next. And don't even get me started on Microsoft Copilot, which has 12 variants and nobody even knows which one to try and use. So
Yeah.
if anybody's coming forward and saying, hey, I know exactly how we should implement AI in every marketing team, it's just not the case. So there needs to be some good guidelines to help us understand risk, help us understand security. But we need to have the handcuffs off right now in marketing to do experimentation, to figure out for our buyer journey, for our product and the value that we're trying to bring to our customers, where are the places that AI can fit into our systems and help us to evolve and to accelerate and find efficiencies, find better strategies, all of those things. And we need some flexibility to do that right now. I think that answered your original question.
No, it does. And then I agree with you 100% when it comes to marketing. When I work with clients or when I used to work for companies that had a really strict guideline on what type of content you can release and stuff like that, I almost felt like we left a lot of money on the table. There was a lot of missed opportunities because we were not agile enough. We were too slow in producing things. We were too slow and too expensive. Even when Fiverr came out, I remember 10, 15 years ago, I was telling our CMO that I was reporting to, I'm like, we don't need to hire another person. Let's just go on Fiverr and get a designer or whatever. And not everything has to be an employee or whatever. So, and some companies don't like that. So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact people don't like change. And like you said, AI is like changing so rapidly. I've been the Chat GPT, obviously the first one, but then I've been very much into Claude recently, vibe coding, and I don't even code. I'm really prompting and it's producing code for me. And it's pretty exciting. But that's also changing the rules of marketing a little bit. I think we're going to have to become a little bit more techie. Don't you agree?
I do. And let me step back and say this. I'm not sure I'm ever going to consider myself techie, right? There's only going to be so far that my natural skills and capabilities take me in getting super techie. But what I am doing is really leaning into a few of the capabilities that I have. I'm super adaptable, right? Like change for me, it's like a duck to water. I like change.
Yes.
I like things to keep evolving consistently. And I like figuring out what the new landscape looks like and how to be successful in it. So I'm naturally an adaptable and kind of risk tolerant person. So this new world to me is exciting.
Me too.
But it also means that there is a lot of tech involved in it that is over my head, right? Like when I start getting into the details of how the models are getting produced, I'm like, oh geez, now I'm lost. But if I understand what is the purpose of them, how are they impacting the output, which model is best at helping achieve a certain use case, that I can totally relate with and I can start to figure it out. So yes, I think we're going to have to get better at being tech literate. You just mentioned you're not a coder, but you're able to get in and prompt. Where I think marketers have a real leg up in this new world of AI is by nature, most of us were good communicators.
Yeah.
And that is the key to unlocking the power of the large language models right now, is learning how to be a great communicator with AI. And as long as we remember that's all this is,
Yeah.
is leveraging our great communication skills to be clear about what our objectives are, be clear about how we want to get there, it's going to serve us well in this new landscape. So yes, to more tech literacy. I can't remember what the original question was. I went down a little rabbit hole there again.
No. And the next thing I was going to ask is that someone like you who's been in a role of high-level CMO, obviously you have the C-level or VP of marketing. You have had the higher level responsibility of leadership, and then how do you join that with all the technical transformation that's happening? Like, where do you draw the balance, the line? Where's the balance here?
Yeah, I think I'll step back and talk to you about what I see happening as more of my marketing team became AI enabled, including myself. And it is changing the way that we approach our work. I have people on my team that were very, let's call it, clearly defined in their role, content strategist, or potentially like our SEO manager. They knew what they were going to do. They knew what the outcome usually looked like, and they had a process for which to get it done. And then we throw AI into the mix, and a couple of things happened almost across the board. Most people were really scared, right? It was like, and also suspicious of, Is this going to take my job? Are you trying to get me to adopt AI because you want to replace me? And is it even going to be good? And as we start learning how to use the AI and realizing that it's as good as we make it, which means that the human component to this is actually quite necessary, people started getting less fearful, less concerned about their place in the world. But what they did have to do is start opening their mind up to how does this change their role.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an awesome example of this in my content strategist on my team. She's phenomenal. Like, I was impressed with her before AI. But she was hesitant in AI adoption at the beginning of our journey there because she was confident in her writing skills and originally saw it as something that she was being asked to use to increase her output or copy edit her or whatever. And so it just felt like to her unnecessary in some ways. But as a part of our AI journey, when she started to see that there is a real capability with AI to use it as a thought partner and a strategy partner. I'm sorry, Mike. So as part of our AI adoption journey, she started to realize that she could leverage the AI as her thought partner and more of a strategy partner. And within a couple of cycles, so weeks, she was going from seeing AI as a editing tool or a content generation tool. Sure, it can do that, but having it help her look at our entire content strategy and create a completely different content approach, which was so much more effective and a lot more efficient for her. So it leveled up our outcomes dramatically because she started to be able to get to the more strategic items that had always been on her list. She cleared out some of the tactical things that she just let AI run with. She started using AI as her thinking partner. And then she started getting to those really cool, innovative ideas that have been at the bottom of her list for a long time, but she's just never had the capacity to get to. That is where I think companies need to be thinking about AI. It's not so much about replacing people. It's about starting to give people the capacity to shift some of that repeatable task-oriented work over to automation. Start using AI as a thought partner and a strategy partner, and start bringing those ideas that have all been at the bottom of our list for a long time to get to and evolving the way that we're going to market. It's a fun time.
I agree with you. I'm really excited. And just like your employees, I was fearful too. I'm like, why do they need us? Why do our clients need an agency? Why do they? Because we produce blog posts for them, we do creatives for them. And what I've noticed that we're slowly moving to be more strategic partners rather than tacticians, which is not bad. That's actually a good thing. We had to do some restructuring in our team, but now the fear is slowly fading away. The challenge I see is that a lot of these AI companies, you and I we're both in marketing, they tend to make really crazy headlines. Oh, this new generation is going to be like 10 times more intelligent than a PhD level. Like, they say stuff like that. And I remember the CEO of Salesforce was saying, eventually, I hope our AI will replace me too. And when they say stuff like that, I'm like, okay, this isn't really helping anyone right now. We want to be more forward, more transparent about what we should be using AI for and what we should not. What are the lines here? And yes, eventually it's going to get better and better. But as of right now, and I think for the next couple of years at least, I'm not a fortune teller. I see us marketers moving more to, like you said, from tactical things to more strategical things, which I like. I enjoy those more anyway. So
yeah, there's something that I've talked to a lot of different folks about. So because of the journey that I've been on, I've been invited to speak to a few different marketing organizations and do some webinars and such. And every time that I get in and talk to other marketers on other teams, I'm running into the exact same set of concerns and set of excitement and opportunities that I was experiencing with my team at Dice. And I'm starting to get just a little bit direct with people because something that I'm seeing, and hopefully this rings true for folks, but there's two types of marketers. There's one type who they come every day, they get their job done, but they are flying under the radar. They're not really overtaxed. They have plenty of time to get things done. They're not really raising their hand to do anything additional, and they're just coasting. They're not stretching themselves really. They deliver, so they just fly under the radar. If that is you, your job is probably going to get replaced by AI. Like, I'm just going to tell you that's probably the case, right? The other type of marketer is what I'm more consistently saying, it's more common. Most marketers have so many things on their plate, they're stretched so thin. And the majority of their day is spent doing a whole bunch of things that are probably not the most impactful thing, but other people think that they are a high priority and they have to get done on a consistent basis and happen right now. And you're dealing with all these tasks, all these things flying at you. You're trying to firefight, you're trying to prioritize, whatever. But then you don't really have time to get to those strategic ideas that you know in your gut are the thing that are going to be the game changer. And maybe at the end of the quarter, when it's ready to start thinking about next quarter's OKRs, you're like, oh, maybe we should think about that thing. And then you put 5 minutes of thinking and planning into it, and you throw it over into an OKR sheet and you start going on it, right? That is the type of marketer that has a lot to gain from where AI is at today. Because if we can be smart about the AI ecosystems that we set up for ourselves and get the repeatable rote things that can be automated, that can be handled in a few prompts every morning or whatever the system needs to be for you, if you can get those off of your plate, you start opening up that thinking time, you start opening up that let's look and analyze and spend time in the data, spend time with our AI teammate that's helping us with data analytics, looking for those game changers for the business, looking for those improvements to customer journey that you just didn't have time for before. And you asked earlier, like, how has it changed my day-to-day as a marketing leader? A couple of things. One, I used to spend so much time preparing executive comms, like my updates to the CEO, my updates to the sales leader, the sales team, my updates to even HR on people and teams, my communications with IT around our different tech stack needs and processes. So much time. The amount of time I spent building decks, the amount of the emails, all the updates, right? Prepping for meetings, all of that. I have created my ecosystem around marketing leadership that allows me to simulate those key stakeholders. And then I'm building my communications for them with my AI teammates. And I've cut the time that I spend doing that down by at least half. It doesn't mean I don't have to still pour over every word and make sure I know what I'm saying. And I don't have to be thoughtful about the content that's going in. I actually get a chance to be more thoughtful because the time generating it is just so much less. So that has been a game changer for me. The other thing that it has come of that is because it's tightening up the time to actually produce, I actually have more time to think about how good is it and to sit there and sharpen it. And that's led me to uncovering some shifts in strategy that I maybe would have missed otherwise because I'd just been too buried in the minutia before. So to me, that's the way that I'm seeing some changes at the leadership level. And that just extrapolates itself all the way down. I have more time to spend with my team. Whether this is good or bad, in recent months, I've been spending more time with some of the kind of frontline people on my team than I ever have before because I have time. And that's new for me. I'm still just as busy as I always was, but I feel like I'm doing the more impactful thing that only I can do. The AI can't actually do for me because I actually have created space and time in my calendar for it now.
Yeah, that's great. I can attest, we marketers spend too much time reporting, putting together reports and decks and all this automation that thanks to AI, it's really helping cut that time into half or even less. Cool. We're running out of time. So I wanted to ask more about like, what are you doing right now? Are you consulting? Are you taking a break?
Just like a lot of companies, the company I've been working with has been affected by the economy and a lot of uncertainty in the market, and so has really reduced down. And I am taking some time to figure out what's next. I am having so much fun in the AI transformation space that I've had the opportunity to start doing a little bit of consulting. It's not something I really had thought about as a path for myself until I've just had this opportunity, but it's so much fun. So right now, that's where I'm at. I'm also looking around to see what's next. I think there's going to
Yeah.
be a big shift over the next 6 to 12 months in what go-to-market leadership looks like as AI gets
Yes.
more and more bundled in. So one of the things that I am getting very excited about and spending a lot of time on right now is figuring out where the connectivity between sales and marketing has the opportunity to improve. I love working with sales and I love working with sales teams. It's been one of the highlights of my career is getting to make friends with all of my sales leader buddies and the folks on the front lines. But there are so many spots in the relationship between sales and marketing that aligns with the customer journey that we've been delivering a very disparate customer journey. No matter how hard we all try and look at it and say, we want a unified customer journey, we just haven't really gotten there over the last 10 years or so. But I think with AI, there's a real opportunity to get to a unified customer journey, and I'm excited to help figure that out. So that's where I'm putting a lot of time in on my learning right now and on the networking I'm doing is to understand where the opportunities are to leverage some of the things I've learned about AI transformation and marketing and how it might impact AI transformation on the full go-to-market.
Cool. Yeah, it's really exciting time. And definitely things are changing, and we felt it too on the agency side. And you got to embrace it, be AI forward, as you said. And the sales and marketing thing is also, I think AI is going to help it a lot. I've seen if you adapt AI correctly. For example, for one of our clients, we get the transcriptions of the calls and we analyze it to figure out some of the pain points, and then we create marketing content around it. So that's kind of integrating, let's say, sales and customer support with marketing. So there's a lot of opportunity that it was really difficult to do before because it was impossible to read every transcription, but now AI can do it really quickly. Awesome. Since we're running out of time, I think I'd like to ask a couple of personal questions from you, if you don't mind. When you're not working or being an awesome marketing leader, what are you doing? What are some of your hobbies?
Okay, I've been bit by the pickleball bug, so I play a lot of pickleball. I live in Utah, so I'm right by the mountains. I love to be outside in nature, exploring. I do a lot of volunteer work on the side for a conservation group, and we're focused on preservation of land and water in Utah, primarily in the city and county that I live in. So that takes up a lot of my out of work time focus there. And then obviously friends, family, and pursuit of happiness. I also have a great little companion sitting here right by my feet, my golden doodle named Remington Steele.
I've never been to Utah, but I definitely want to go visit, at least maybe find an excuse to go to a conference or something. Yeah. And I guess another question is, where can people find you? And you said you offer some consulting services. Do you have any availability?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn, just at Carol-Lyn Jardine. I definitely have some availability right now, and I'm really happy to talk to anybody about their AI journey. So if you're looking for just to hear a story of success with how we implemented AI at Dice, or if you're looking to brainstorm where you want to go with your AI implementation, I'm more than happy to spend time with people and explore where the opportunities are. There's one thing that, a lot of times at the end of these, you'll say, is there anything I asked you or I didn't ask you that I should have? The one thing I want to bring to the conversation, if you're just thinking about your AI strategy, it's something that has been true in marketing all along, but we sometimes lose sight of it. Product marketing needs to be at the core of your AI strategy. And I cannot stress that enough. Obviously, data is also another big issue, but data has been our big issue for a long time. So core data is a big deal. But making sure that your product marketing foundations are in place and ready to go mean that you can train your AI teammates properly, appropriately, and to be a big help to your human teammates. If you do not have your product marketing foundations in place, you're going to have a really hard time having a successful AI implementation.
Cool. Awesome. That was awesome. It's been a pleasure. I found this very useful, insightful. I really appreciate your time. And thank you for coming to our podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Appreciate it. And good luck to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.